استراحة الآن. طرقي 11 ساعة. الطالب اثنين. سبيشل.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to today's SATAC match. I hope you're all doing well. Let's do the most important thing, and that's roll those dice. Give me one moment here. 3, 2, 1, go. And it is map number 3. Also, AIN has picked heads. So, 3, 2, 1. They win the dice roll. Make sure you guys all saw that. Excellent. Okay, we'll change the map and get moving. Okay, how are you guys all going? Hello, Hex. Hello, Boris and Fraser. Good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. Night Assassin, good to see you. Okay. And this means that it is Sochi versus Mod Doc. Overcast with rain. The players have agreed on not using ECM on this match. So this will be no ECM and in inclement weather. So it ought to be very good fun. Okay, aim picks starting side. AIN. Hello, Lucas. How are you? I said AIM, and I meant to say AIN. Hey, Technitinium, how are you? G'day, Lucas. G'day. All right, and I just have to ask one thing. All right, so I'm going to bring you over to DCS, where AIN have picked the blue side to get started. Hello, vehicle. How are you going? Let's have a look at what the conditions are like on the ground. They're not great. I was having a conversation with some of the teams. Has the title updated? Gotta make sure that the title's all good. Perfect. The 76, I was talking to the 76, they have a familiar name among them that is Orange Cat. But I noticed that the symbol's repeated, and apparently in Chinese language, it is very cute when something is repeated twice, like cat cat or cow cow. So not only is Orange Cat flying today, it's a cute orange cat. So, spawning in, we have Winchester in the J11, Blackout in the F16, Arcadiace, Shack, Muppet, and Visual Basic in F18s. Meanwhile, over on the red side, we have 265, Jam in an F15, Nisan in the F18, Maverick in the F16, Orange Cat in the J11, and Overload Dog in the J11 as well. And of course, Orange Cat will have the beautiful Snow Owls livery. This is a SATAC match, Lucas, and the schedule is available on the SATAC Discord. And you'll be able to see not only when the matches are hosted, but who's going to be hosting them, as there are plenty of people, such as 81 Banana, who you ought to follow, as they cast some SATAC matches as well, and are definitely worth watching. So, everyone's getting loaded and ready for the match. Winchester in the J11. And I have just forgotten what that flag represents. AIN looking fearsome in their black liveries. Uh-oh. I am missing the centerline fuel tank texture. Or Blackout. So I may be missing a skin. I don't know if Hex, you're available to have a quick look at that. If it is trouble, then don't worry about it. Hello, Hate to Lose, how you going? It was wonderful watching you fight yesterday. A tremendous effort by the dogs. Bosnia and Herzegovina to send it your way? Sure. Alright, thank you, Hex. Winchester is taxiing, Arcadius is taxing behind. I'm going to stumble over that name so bad. Blackout 91 is following behind. As we've got Shaq, Muppet, and Visual Basic getting ready. Hello, Kuroha. How are you going? Welcome in. Let's go and have a look at the red team as they get their paint jobs on. Nice, Anne. So, we have the 76 Snow Owl Squadron strongly represented here. Happy Easter to you, Kuroha. How are the... The matches are going fantastically so far. Which is to say, yesterday we had some great matches between the Dogs and... Who else did we have fighting? We had the Dogs fighting off against the 69th Only Flies in a very exciting competition. Oh, okay. It's I think it's intentionally supposed to be like that. Okay, it's intentional. Okay, running on no sleep, but doing well regardless. That's one way to mess with the streamer, I guess. Intentionally have a missing texture. And thank you for the follow, Lucas. Oh, right. Everything is looking good and feeling good now. Winchester, you're going to want to close that canopy, man. You're going to be swimming in a bathtub. I mean, I know that the A10 has its titanium bathtub, but that doesn't mean you're supposed to fill it up with water. The Altus Armed Forces, yeah, the AAF. Rock and roll. Spectacular. So, let's look at what everyone's bringing. No ECM has been agreed on for this match. So, it'll be fuel tanks all around 4 AMRAAMs max, no AIM-9Xs, so the F-16s are predictably armed. But let's have a look at the J-11s. Looks like Orange Cat is bringing along 2 R-27s, one ER and one ET. And as we discovered the last time that they flew and fought, we had a quick chat with them, and apparently the R-73s on the wingtips like this, or rather the ones that are specifically on this pylon, cause a lot of drag. But because they've agreed upon no ECM for this match, that does free up the wingtip pylon for an R-73, and they are bringing them this time. Last time the Snow Owl Squadron flew, they brought no... rather, the last time the 76 flew, they brought no R-73s at all, which is an interesting thing not to bring because they're so good. The F-18's bringing the standard loadout, 2 bags, and that'll do. Why is the flanker ECM on both wingtips? I just assume it would be a way of increasing the coverage of the ECM. Or maybe it works in the same way that some American ECM systems do, which is to say that they have different pods tuned to different frequency bands. So maybe one wingtip pod is a higher frequency band and one wingtip pod is a lower frequency band. So, all lined up at the moment, we have Dyson, Maverick, Overload Dog, Jam, Orange Cat, and waiting to move we have Bunny Cat. Hello, Clickfate, and thank you for the follow. In the blue corner, Arcady Ace and Blackout lead the way in an F-18 and F-16. Shaq and Winchester are behind them. And AIN declares ready. Visual Basic flying as a Merc for them is dolled up in the Canadian livery. It also supports the RWR as far as you know, with slant ranging, though not on our flankers. What do you mean by slant ranging? I know I've heard that term, but I've forgotten what it means. One for transmit and one for receive? Oh, I see, I see. That makes sense. Oh, it's my pleasure. Clickfate. And hello, Kaori. Vigan1234, good to see you too. We'd better get ourselves a poll ready to go. So, give me 1 second just to put a poll up on the stream. Make sure you use your phones to vote for who you're here to support. The JS-17 can help with ranging incoming radar pings. Ah, I see. Just 50 cents per vote? Oh, man. Have any of you ever voted on one of those shows like American Idol or something where you actually have to vote with a text message? That always seemed like it was a scam. Okay, and both teams ready. Get set. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. And there we have it. It's the beginning of round one. Nicean leads the way as the first two pilots take off the runway for the 76th. Arcadiace leads the way for AIN, with his F-16 flight leader right behind. Shack and Winchester are not far behind in the J11 and F-18. And Visual Basic and Muppet are the next two. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to announce that I have a Mars bar next to me, and I didn't have time to eat it before the start of the stream, and now it's looking at me. It's looking at me and speaking to me. And I'm using every ounce of my strength to resist. Bunny Cat and the F-15 are still on the runway for the 76th. Hold on, let me check something. So this is I was confused by the loadout. So 4 AMRAAMs, 1 on the wingtip, 3 on the belly, 3 AIM 9Ms, and 1 Sparrow. Talk about an interesting mix. I was worried that he'd brought too many AMRAAMs, but no. He's just bringing a Sparrow, just the one. Good luck with your saving throws. Thank you very much. I reckon I'll have time to destroy it during one of the ad breaks. Also, I saw your DM, Clickfate. Don't you worry. It's one of those things where, with a little bit of practice, you'll be having the time of your life. Please do not personify this Mars bar. That just makes what I'm going to do to it later even more difficult. It looks like the 76th are the favourites for round one. As the last pilot takes off from the runway, as Bunny Cat pulls in from the rear for the 76th. In the northern group, Arcadiace and Blackout have made it above the weather, where everything is looking much nicer up here. The F-16 not far off his left wing. In the southern group, Shack and Winchester are close together at 33,000 feet. Oh, there's no fumbling in things like this, Clickfate. There is just having had a go. Hey, Penguin. Absolutely, I saw you were full to the brim on pizza. What kind of pizza did you have? And I make that an open question to everyone, what your favourite kind of pizza is. I think mine is jalapenos and pepperonis. But I do like pineapple on pizza, you'll have to forgive me. Niceand's actually looking like they'll be the first one to make it in the circle. We might keep the music as it is, actually. Sometimes once the battle starts, I like to put on some Ace Combat music, but I feel like a bit of rock is never going to go astray. Especially not when it cues up songs like this. Maverick is going into the far north. Pineapple on both of them and marinated chicken. Spectacular. Niceand takes control of the circle, the first one to enter, but still 110 nautical miles away from any members of either team. Pepperoni salami is fire, especially when it's got a bit of spice to it. You know, if you get like a really hot pizza oven and you put a pepperoni pizza in there and it crisps up the pepperoni just a little bit, and the pepperoni's got some really good spice to it, fuck, it tastes so good. I've never had a Chicago-style deep dish before, but I would really like to try one. 96 nautical miles between Arcadiace and Niceand. Arcadiace is going to make it into the circle first and contest the zone. The battle area is contested as Arcadiace picks up on the challenge. Let's go and have a look at what the weather is like down low. So there are gaps in the clouds. But if you get yourself into defending into terrain like this, your vision does get obfuscated quite severely. Now, with that having had been said, it is not completely unnavigable. Situational awareness is going to be extremely demanding during this match. It's going to be particularly hard for the F-15C, as it has no data link to rely on. Some people don't like Chicago style, say it's soupy. Yeah, I'd always imagine it would be. But it's not like you can pick up a slice of Chicago style deep dish, I guess. Niceand is getting close now. 60 nautical miles between them and Arcadiace. Both of them at about 38 to 39,000 feet. The question now is who's going to pull the trigger first. Arcadiace looks happy to not lose any missiles just yet, but aware that there might be one coming. Niceand hasn't fired yet, but if he was going for Arcadiace, his target is now notching him. Nothing can stop Niceand into the charge into the middle. Arcadiace has gone cold now, defending against a missile that didn't quite come out yet, but sensible behaviour all the same. Visual Basic and Blackout now proceeding towards Niceand. Well within a kind of firing range at this kind of altitude. 50 nautical miles would be enthusiastic but not unheard of. Blackout, tearing through the sky. Both teams actually baiting out the early shots. Maverick and Niceand now going defensive after Arcadiace went defensive, but no one actually shot anything. So Everyone's defending against imaginary missiles at the moment. Overload Dog is coming in with the J11, doing the same thing that we've seen a couple of times before, which is bringing one single R77, as is reserved for close-range fights. But Winchester pulls the trigger first, a 40 nautical mile shot against Orange Cat, who is at 47,000 feet. The SD-10 does charge at altitude, travelling at 2,100 knots at 66,000 feet, with 25 nautical miles to cross against the very high Orange Cat. This missile may have potential, but I have the feeling that the Seeker Head has lost Orange Cat, actually. And one of the problems with the SD-10 is that when it loses a lock, it'll maintain its attitude to the best of its ability, even if it's still doing the lofting maneuver. And as a result, if you just have a look over the tip of the missile, you can see Orange Cat flying underneath this missile that has not acquired him or her. Jam follows behind as Shaq fires an AIM 120 at them, and they fire one in return at 35 nautical miles. Both of them are happily notching just a little bit. Shaq, though, turning in the opposite direction. This AIM 120 is going to be threatening in that case. He's going to have to start ditching a lot of altitude now to try and get away from this. Though actually may have just notched it. It did... Oh, no, it's got him. Okay, he knows who's in trouble now. The Seeker Head's active. The fuel tanks have been dumped. This might be inevitable. Impact. But he gets away with it? Ooh, very lucky. Shaq should be dead. Shaq getting a little bit lucky on the dice roll for that one. SD-10's going in both directions. This one's for space, and this one is tracking down what looks to be Winchester, who's at 20,000 feet, and 5 nautical miles away from the missile. Let's see if Winchester can get away. The SD-10 drops below 800 knots. Will quickly not be fast enough to catch up, and certainly has been left behind in the dust as Winchester gets away. Orange Cat pushes up. An SD-10 has been launched. Looks like this one's for Visual Basic, who's at 35,000 feet, and is currently 20 nautical miles away from the missile. Plenty of missiles fired, but no dikes just yet. This SD-10 has its target, but has it found it? SD-10 Seeker Head. Ooh, SD-10 Seeker Head does find him. This one looks like it's going to get him straight on. And down goes Visual Basic. Blown apart by that SD-10, but did manage to fire their own missile. An AIM-7, though, unfortunately. With no radar left to guide it, that one is for the birds. This AIM 120 flying directly overhead of Jam in the F-15, who manages to keep out of its Seeker Head and launch a missile of their own, heading towards potentially Arcadiace in a very high off-bore sight shot. I'm not sure where this missile's going. If this is going towards Arcadiace, that must have been fired right on the gimbal limits of that missile launch. But it looks like it might actually catch him entirely off guard. It goes active. Arcadiace in real trouble here. That enormous off-bore sight shot from the F-15 is at 25,000 feet, traveling at 1,500 knots. Arcadiace gets splashed by it. So that's 2 down for AIN. Jam with 1 kill, and Orange Cat with 1 as well. Shaq in the F-18 fires an AIM-7. Just a little noisemaker to keep the 76 paying attention. The weather conditions certainly seem to be playing into the favour of the 76th, who are comfortable at high altitudes. Overload Dog fires towards Blackout, 23 nautical miles shot at 50,000 feet and 2,300 knots. This missile is going for it. This one looks like it's going straight into Blackout. Right to the face. We are in no escape zone. Unbelievably gets notched though. Whoa, hello SD10. What did you lock onto? Hello. It switched targets to Muppet? It might still have what it takes to... Ooh, that's really dangerous. Blackout. Oh, certain Blackout was done for there. Winchester with an AIM-120 coming down from high altitude towards him. Winchester splashed. Shaq having to defend against multiple missiles. Nisan with an SD-10 of their own to contend with. AIM-120s are all in the sky. Nothing going up towards these high altitude targets though. Maverick in the F-16. Still with plenty of missiles. Fires off an AIM-120 at 45,000 feet. Gets one sent back in return. Blackout and Muppet fire AIM-120s towards Maverick. Actually, it looks like Blackout might have fired at Nisan. And Maverick fires the dual target track. One for Muppet, one for Blackout. Now they're going to have to dip into this terrible weather and try and notch these into the ground. The first missile nearly takes out someone's little factory. Shaq here getting chased down by missiles. Shaq catches one to the wing, gets taken out. Muppet and Blackout, the last two remaining. Blackout and Muppet both managed to defeat the missiles coming in towards them. That AIM-120 has gone straight up into the sky. And so is this one. No threat necessarily against either of these targets as an SD-10 goes down towards Blackout. These top-down SD-10 shots have been a very reliable way of getting kills, as its target turns cold. Just off the left-hand side of the missile, coming into view now. Splash. Muppet, the last one remaining. And Muppet gets hit by two missiles simultaneously and taken out cleanly. As it's a wipeout for AIN. Let's check that everyone's down. Muppet's gone. Let's check out some of the action we missed. Just check that Nisan's not going to get this AIM 120 coming down from space. What about this one? This one's nearly made its way down into the terrain. But this one is falling almost directly on Nisan. So a comprehensive round for the 76th. As they put an absolute clinic out onto AIN. So, the first one to go down, Visual Basic. Though Shack got themselves a missile that they got very lucky to get away from. This AIM 120. Deciding it didn't feel like dealing damage today. Sometimes it happens. So Shaq gets away with it, but while that happens, Visual Basic pushes forward and gets caught by an SD-10. So this SD-10 launched from Orange Cat at 33 nautical miles. Visual Basic gets splashed after firing an AIM-7. That AIM-7 to no effect. The next one was Arcadiace, who got dealt with a very, very impressive... I genuinely didn't think that Jam had fired at Arcadiace here, because Jam must have just been at the absolute gimbal limits of this shot here. He's not even looking at him. This AIM 120 just goes off the rails and flies almost 90 degrees to the left. Kept within gimbal. Gets enough radar data to be pointing in the right direction. And then the Seeker head takes care of the rest. That missile's still going at Mark 2.3, even though Arcadiace is defending at Mark 1.1. It was a mathematical certainty. Winchester and Shack making a good attempt at an attack here. Winchester caught out slightly too high in altitude. J-11's a big old plane, plenty for that radar to look at. And then Shack gets chased down by several high-altitude planes here, including Jam and Orange Cat. As Blackout and Muppet are left to fend for themselves, an SD-10 comes in, but the R-27ET behind it would have sealed the deal. Both had the energy to finish them off. And then Muppet gets two AIM 120s in the same moment. So, Overload Dog and Orange Cat are making their way back to base. They're the closest ones to home. Overload Dog and Orange Cat, 40 nautical miles away from home. This is going to be a difficult one, and it's going to take a lot of effort to overcome from the members of AIN, as they will need to wrestle control of the high-altitude fight away from the J-11s and F-15s on the 76 team. They seem to fly uncontested at super high altitudes and win their matches by shooting downwards. If the weather conditions were better, it might be an interesting idea to fight in amongst the mountains, to try and bait them in to try and find you, but with the cloud cover this low, it is tricky. But not impossible. The only problem is that there becomes a time once you get above around about what I'd call 45,000 feet. Once you're above 45-ish thousand feet, you're above the altitude where someone on the ground who's not going particularly fast, someone at, you know, someone flying close to deck level, they can't just pull up and fire off a missile and have the rocket motor get the whole way there, you know? And they have a really good grasp of being able to stay at the altitude where they're safe from high altitude shots, whereas if you're at 30,000 feet and you're flying over the top of someone, they can dip their nose up and fire off an AIM-120 or an SD-10, and the rocket motor will be strong enough to get it all the way up there. The 76 taking advantage of the fact that the SD-10 maintains its speed really effectively at high altitude, arguably better than the AIM-120 does. With a long-burning rocket motor, it makes things interesting. Looks like Maverick is doing a few barrel rolls on the way home. It's nearly time to drop altitude and start making our way to the runway. Why is his... yeah, vertical stabilizer doing that? I was wondering. I'm sure Orange Cat feels uncomfortable being this low in altitude. What do you mean I can't stay at 45,000 feet? I have to land? What? Now for the tricky part. Where is the runway? Oh, there it is. Nearly had it. Going for a Navy landing in the J11. Good thing it's got parachutes. I reckon he'll pop those out as soon as he gets wheels down. No parachute? I'm not going to consider this a safe landing if there's no parachute. Yes! There's the parachutes. Alright, so Orange Cat seals the first round for the 76th. Bunny Cat doing an overhead brake, following behind. Nice Ann coming in the F-18. You know what's probably a really annoying job? Is repacking the parachutes that go on those planes. Nice And's coming in for a landing, and Overlord Dog is coming in the other direction. Parachutes out for the J11. Make sure you don't cut off your buddy here. That's Nice and Overlord Dog down safe. Bunny Cat's next in queue. It's annoying, and you need a special qualification for it. Would there be any nuclear option? Not on stream, but maybe in my Discord afterwards, but today's a SATAC stream. Fighter Jet 11, welcome in. Want to watch the world burn? Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about watching the world burn, but I am sure about watching my own aircraft carrier burn after I forgot where I told it to go and it got stuck in an island. Bunny Cat, down and safe. Meaning that all that's left is Jam and Maverick. That is an interesting point, Boris, actually, that the Snow Owls, or rather 76, are coming back with a lot of missiles here. The J-11s are nearly completely empty, but the F-16s did not have to dip too hard into their stocks. The F-16 skips leg day at the gym. Don't be rude to the F-16s. It's doing its best. And to answer your question, Hedonic, SATAC is a 6v6 competitive DCS tournament where participants compete for control over a central zone. Last team standing in the zone wins the round, so long as they can make it back home to base and land with at least one healthy pilot. F-16 coming in, with the F-15 coming in the other direction. So, goodness me, this visibility is not great. Looks like Maverick's coming down. And the F-15 nearly here. If you want to talk about planes, skip leg day. Look at the spinny little things on this boy. It's like landing on a coat rack. I do hope AIN is not too discouraged. They just need to change up their tactics a little bit. They need to force... They need to fire at the 76 earlier. They need to force them down. That's the main trick, is getting high-speed, long-range shots out against these J-11s. You folded a lot of 15 gear? Yep, me too. The J11 is more dominant at a high altitude? It can be. The J11s, Su-27s and Su-33s tend to do well at high altitudes just because they've got so much wing area. The F-15 does have some benefits and certainly has better radar, but the J11s can bring SD-10s, which are extremely capable. And yeah, in terms of the speed question, I wouldn't truthfully be able to say. And there we have it. Jam makes it down. Alright guys, let's get ready for the next round. Now, before we do that, let's make sure that we hear a word from one of the key sponsors of SATAC. That being Masterarm.
Running a dedicated DCS server can be complex, time-consuming, and expensive. And after all that effort, you still might not get the smooth, seamless experience you're looking for. That's why virtual pilots and virtual squadrons choose Master Arm as a ready for immediate use solution and for peak efficiency. With low latency, high stability, and uncompromising performance, Master Arm ensures that every maneuver, every decision, and every shot counts. Stay mission ready. Fly with confidence. Master Arm has your six. Get your server at www.masterarm.de.
Welcome back, everyone, to round 2 as we prepare for the sides to switch and the Snow Owls with 76 to take off from Sochi and fly towards the members of AIN who will be at Mosdock. Blackout taxiing to the runway, followed by Arcadiace, Winchester, Shack, Muppet, and Visual Basic. Not a great day for flying. And don't worry, it's not a missing texture, that is 100% intentional. Let's chuck up a poll to see who you're supporting in round number 2. Bunny Cat, Jam, Overload Dog, Nisan, Maverick, and Orange Cat are making their way over to the runway. So make sure you guys get your votes in. We'll leave the poll running for 10 minutes to see who's here to support who. Useful information. Can also predict who you actually think is going to win and why. The Snow Owl Squadrons put on a comprehensive victory in the first round, though with that having had been said, they're not unbeatable. Hey, Rags. I was reading your name. Thank you for the follow, by the way. And I misread it, and I thought you said AI in Rags, and I thought it was some kind of anti-AI statement, and I was like, okay, I get it. But no, it turns out I'm just dumb. I would like to see AIN even this one out. It's all about applying the right pressure. Hey, Sid Wilson, welcome in. Arch has another pilot taking a spot. In which case I assume that this is Visual Basic who is filling in at the moment. The mercenaries are a key part of what makes SATAC possible. Just in case any teams are missing members, willing group of capable and experienced mercenaries are available to fill in some of those missing spots. Now, with that having had been said, please do not do what one guy did in 2022 and apply as a single person and try and fly alone. And Bunny Cat is making their way down to the runway now. And we'll see him pass by his comrades. Funny Cat's nearly joined the rest of the team. Nice Sand and Maverick are at the front of the runway. The first two to take off. Do like Maverick's tail art. Wouldn't the 16s be facing the radar issue that pilots were reporting yesterday? Yeah. I personally haven't run into it myself. Okay. So let me check with AIN. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. And there we have it. It's the beginning of round 2. I mean, there are MI8s that the Soviet Union used that had those manual control line of sight missiles. Technitinium, I don't know if you know what they were. Were they Malyutkas? The ones that you had to control with a little joystick. So it would be funny to get some manually controlled ATGMs in the MI8. It's just cursor bumping that's a bit funky. Okay. Winchester and Shack are taking off now, as Nisan and Maverick have led the way. Overlord Dog and Orange Cat to follow. The two J11s screaming up into the sky. AIN needs to find a way to keep those planes away. And I reckon it's all going to fall down to not giving up high altitude. And hey, no better way than to climb altitude than going straight up. See the formation lights disappear into the clouds. Fantastic camera shot there, Sure, great work. Blackout and Arcadiace cruising up to 33,000 feet and climbing. What exactly goes wrong with the cursor bumping? Arcadiace and Blackout stacking on top of each other now at 30,000 feet. Winchester and Shack heading south, the J11 and the F-18. Maverick and Nisan are up at altitude as well. Hello, Night Rose. Hope you're having a good day today. Overlord Dog will be the challenger in the south, it looks like, as Winchester and Shack will be chasing them down. What do you think the strategy is? And look at how this is it. You see, they wear their strategy on their sleeve. Overlord Dog is not even bothering to bring R-73s. The objective here is to get as high and as fast as possible. And that means dropping every unnecessary bit of weight that they can. We'll also be looking to burn a little bit of fuel before getting into the fight, just so the plane is not as heavy as it can be. I think it carries around about 9 tons worth of fuel. Like the 76 are the favourites for this round. After the performance in the first round, I'm not entirely surprised, but I reckon that AIN has what it takes. I forgot to eat my Mars bar. No! Yeah, I have that bound as well, AlphaGator. You resorted to using the buttons on your MFDs. It's a shame because the cursor bumping is one of the most useful things about the S16. It's really ergonomic. I have eaten my Mars bar. I feel better. Arcady Ace is at 41,000 feet and will be the first one into the circle. Already very clean. It looks like this F-18 might be throwing down the gauntlet for a little bit of long-range fighting. Maverick and Nisan are leading the way. Oh, man. Sorry. My voice just fell out. We have Winchester and Shack stacked on top of each other. Did you shove in the entire Mars bar at once? Yeah, I ate my Mars bar too quickly and just about choked on that. Oh, Godspeed. Okay. 44,000 feet, 41,000 feet versus 44,000 feet and 38,000 feet. Maverick, Nisan. Looking at Blackout and Arcadiace. AIN broke away and defended against missiles. So did Maverick and Nisan. So, if they remember the first round, they'll probably be expecting the bait and switch here. The trick is going defensive against any missile shots, but also setting yourself up to re-engage once the J-11s arrive. I'm very annoyed, Madfly Penguin, that you managed to do such a good cold read on what exactly I just did. That's when I forgot my Mars bar. They shoved the whole thing in my mouth. Orange Cat is also not bringing any R-73s, is spec'd for speed, with one R-27ET and one ER. So there is the possibility of attempting to force merges with the J-11s. The trick is to getting into their threat range. Those R-73s are still quite deadly and dangerous, though. Arcadiace gets an early 120 off. I think this is a good move, just to make sure that they're manoeuvring. And that one's got its seeker head on. Maverick's now going to have to defend even harder. Radar warning receiver will just be telling him there's a missile there. I mean, we talked about this with my friends a little while ago about what you could throw into a jet engine and have it not break the engine. And I think we were comfortable that you could throw any number of chicken nuggets into an F-16's jet engine. It probably would be fine. But we also decided that you probably couldn't put a whole chicken through there. But I reckon a Mars bar would go through. There is no ECM in this match, so both teams agreed to a coin flip. AIN wanted to coin flip for ECM, so they did, and the 76 won the coin flip, and 76 did not want ECM. So this is an ACM-less match. Now this is cool, we can see Shaq and Winchester, they've changed their strategy, and they're firing early now. So shots out on Overlord Dog, who is, as you'd expect, being forced to ditch some of that precious altitude that these fighters desperately want to cling on to, dropping down to 33,000 feet under the threat of missiles. This missile chasing the J-11 at 55,000 feet is travelling at 1,500 knots, so it probably doesn't have enough speed to be deadly, but it is going to have the key effect of forcing this Orange Cat away. Look how reluctant they are to give up the altitude, though. They don't want to drop altitude at all. Pardon me. Oh, fuck. ACF. Ugh. I've nearly killed myself with the Mars bar, I'm sorry. Look at the aggression from AIN. They've changed up their tactics so well. Orange Cat. Forced down to altitude, down to 35,000 feet. That's not what they want to have happen. Jam as well with the missile coming in. This one has potential. Question is, has someone been caught out at too high an altitude? It looks like Arcadiace may have pushed a little bit too far. Arcadiace gets splashed by an AIM 120. But does Jam have enough speed to get away from this one? An American penny will fod an F-16's engine. Right. But what about a Snickers bar? Guess it's all BVR today. The weather is also bad. God. The weather is also bad, so that only makes things harder. If this SD-10 Seeker head could just capture that plane, it would change the entire course of this match. But it's not close enough. Just outside of limits, as Arcadiace gets splashed by Jam. Overlord Dog with another 120 to contend with. Mars bar still in throat. Yeah, I'm dying due to Mars bar related injuries. AIN is here, and they are having the desired effect. They just need to capitalize on it now. The loss of Arcadiace is very unfortunate, but now the 76 are all compressed into this area here. Now is the time for AIN to push in here with all of their pilots and get AIM 120s fired into this mix. Jorgers Petty, thank you for the follow. Overlord Dog's back up at altitude, though, and he's going to do the same thing. He's going to shoot down at Blackout. He's 20 nautical miles away, just a little bit more, actually. This 120 up in the sky. Not tracking the right target to have any hope of hitting. This R-27 fired, but not tracking. Overlord Dog and Nisan here. Hunting for Blackout. Another AIM 120 comes out, this one towards Orange Cat. If Orange Cat turns in the wrong direction here, that missile goes active, Orange Cat's going to know they're in trouble now. Electing not to maneuver too hard against it, SD-10s fired at high altitude. Orange Cat manages to defeat the AIM 120 through sheer energy. Winchester has 2 missiles coming in towards him. An AIM 120 and an SD-10. The AIM 120 does connect. That's another one down, and it's now a 3v6. So a fantastic tactic change by the members of AIN, but may not have what it takes to connect here. A really nice off-bore sight shot from an AIM 120 heading towards Nisan, who's going to have to defend hard against this. And Nisan fires a 120 off-bore sight at Visual Basic. Overload Dog has been taken out. So it's a 5v3 now. Maverick gets an AIM 7 to think about. Shaq has to contend with an AIM 120 and gets caught out. Visual Basic has an AIM 120 to contend with. No dice on this missile, it goes into the terrain. Visual Basic gets away. Muppet here, defending hard, with only Sparrows left and AIM 9s. Jam is chasing with 2 AMRAMs and a Sparrow, along with 3 AIM 9Ms. Visual Basic here, 1 AIM 120 left. Fires it off. That's last Fox 3 available for the members of AIN. Visual Basic can have to defend against the one fight in response. Successfully notches it. Kaboom. Jam here, successfully evading the 120 with speed. An AIM 7 launched from Muppet, no effect. Orange Cat, 3 SD-10s left, launches one of them, now 2 left. The AIM 120 heading towards Visual Basic here. No track so far. Orange Cat fires off another SD-10 against Visual Basic, who's at 5,000 feet. Countermeasures come out, but no dice. The hardworking mercenary for AIN is done. Now it's Muppet against the world. And Muppet pushes it a little bit too far. And sees it in this terrible, terrible weather. Let's check the planes. Alright. Well, it looks like the 76 have cinched the win on this one, so long as they can get a pilot home. Now, let's check what we didn't see on TAC view. Overload Dog goes down for the 76th. The first casualty they suffered during this match. And interestingly, it looks like it might have been a control locker. Let's see. I have the distinct feeling that Overload Dog found himself traveling at Mark 1.6 and realized that you don't have a huge amount of control authority going that quickly. And introduced himself to the ground, defending. So Muppet gets a kill with little more than kinetic energy. Arcadiace falling victim to one of the long-range shots. Looks like it might have been from Jam, and was at a range of 43 nautical miles when it was launched. Unlucky. Blackout does do the right thing, though, and continues to press the attack before going defensive. These SD-10s, though, they track you. Top-down shots. It's the entire strategy of 76, and it works really well. Takes out Blackout. Winchester caught a little bit out of altitude by Orange Cat at 30 nautical miles. Jam's missile gets there slightly earlier. Both of those targets find their targets. Both of those missiles find their targets. Jack dips up for an attack here with the name 7, but no luck. Visual Basic does make a good attempt at dealing with his aggressors, but... and does a really good AIM 120 dodge here as well. Managing to get away cleanly from it. Very unlucky for this AIM 120 fired towards Jam to not have had tracked all the way to target. A little bit too high up for the missile to work. Visual Basic eventually gets caught by an SD-10 from Orange Cat. After that, Muppet, it is just trying your hardest to evade missiles in bad weather, and you get up to Mach 1.1, and it gets tricky. Unlucky. Okay. Jam leads the way back home. Jam ditching some altitude, bunning Cat making it back home. Don't seem to be any huge stresses with regards to fuel. You can also see me pump out the wrong countermeasure type. Oh, look, it's easy to do. It was a great fight, Visual Basic. The tactic change that AIN undertook to approach the second round was really effective. I really wish it had worked for them. Easy enough to do. I mean, most people just dump out their flares and chaff anyway. But the 76th is quite brutal. I'm trying to think in my own head what the counter to those J11s is. I'm wondering if it's F-15s, clean F-15s at maximum speed and altitude, trying to catch them off guard. The only problem is just that they always know when there's missiles coming. Talk strategy with me, chat. I'm interested because I want to know what you would do in this situation. The F-18 is a tricky one. I can't imagine the way in F-18 would be able to counter that. If it were a clear day, I would almost think about trapping them in the Caucasus Mountains. But even then, I don't know if that would necessarily work. They're insanely good. They're always notching. They are. Yeah, I thought you had that one in the bag, Visual Basic. I thought Jam was going to go down to that one. Is it counted to J11s, more J11s? Well, that's the thing, I don't know. I don't know if... So what would you say is the best missile for firing from low altitude to high altitude? It would be something with a long booning motor. Do you know what might work? What about Phoenixes? Would the counter to J11s sticking up at 45,000 feet and refusing to come any lower, do you think that could be the one opportunity for Phoenixes to, to come in handy? I'm just spitballing ideas. AIM set 174B. Yeah. We might have to reconsider the rule about not letting the teams bring AIM 2 genies. We need to bring back the unguided nuclear air-to-air missile. Anti-ship missiles? Yeah. If you want to take out these J-11s at high altitude, you should bring some harpoons so that they can... their jet engines can carry them the rest of the way. That's an anti-ship missile? The Penguin? No, it's an animal, actually. It's like a chicken, but it stands taller, and it lives in cold places. And it's not really anything like a chicken. Some CBU 105s. No, You see, this is why SATAC's totally going to change once we get the C-130. And there will be an opportunity to have a designated Moab carrier so that you can hide in the Caucasus Mountains and wait for a bandit to come down and get you, and then you just lob the Moab at them. AIN will come back stronger. AIN did really well in that match. It would be easy to dismiss the event as a wipeout, but it wasn't. It wasn't a wipeout. It was a very, very, very experienced team facing off against AIN, and they managed to put up a good fight for themselves, so I think they should walk away from that one feeling very good. Uh-oh. What have we got here? Tire's got a flat spot. Yes, and especially if it's your first time, to have had adapted so clearly to their tactics and come into the second round with a new and improved strategy and actually follow it through was very cool. And this F-15 looks like it really needs to go to the bathroom. Alright, that secures round 2 for the 76th. Let's hop in the Discord to have a yap. Let's see if anyone wants to come and talk with me. As we still have Nisan, Orange Cat, and Maverick to go home. Looks like Nisan's the next one in the pattern. Maverick says, "We are all poor English, no interview. Hope all right. AIN is a good team." Hello, Blackout from AIN. How are you going?
Doing alright. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How's the team feeling after that match? I know that it was just said in chat that you guys are pretty brand spanking new to all of this. Do you want to talk about how long you guys have been flying for and what your experience is?
So, I joined AIN about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I first really got into DCS. But AIN is primarily comprised of veterans, whether it be pilots, people that have actually been infantry in war, especially over in like Iraq, Afghanistan, and all of that.
Okay. Is it specifically a veteran organization, or is it just happened to be a place that a lot of people have met each other?
No. So about half of everybody in there is veteran or active duty.
Oh, spectacular.
The rest are civilian.
Terrific.
And quite a few are also pilots as well.
Well, if you have some pilots, whether serving or veterans, how does that kind of experience translate over to something like DCS? I mean, obviously DCS has a pretty hard limit on how real things can get. But does any of the tactics and strategy of their real-life experience carry over to the flying? I guess some of it must be secret.
I'm not sure if we have any combat pilots. I know there are some private pilots, and a couple of people that flew helos were also crew members on KC-135s, whatnot.
Oh, spectacular. Oh, I have several friends that work as crew chiefs for C-17s and similar roles and things like that. So that's very exciting.
Oh yeah.
Terrific.
But
go ahead.
you know, this is our first time ever being in a competition type, type thing. We're usually doing PvE and whatnot. But no, everybody, we went into it knowing that it was going to be a tough fight.
Absolutely. Had you done much research on this particular team before? Were you kind of anticipating what to expect?
Watched a couple of previous fights and saw how effective they are. They are insanely good.
Absolutely.
So,
particularly with that strategy of the J-11s and F-15s at super high altitude and kind of refusing to give up that space. Was there a plan about how to force them down? I noticed in the second round that the strategy did change quite dramatically and seemed to have a much better effect. What was the plan to take them down?
So originally, what we were going to do was have... So we had a couple of mercs. We had Muppet from 81st, and we had Visual Basic. And I seriously appreciate them coming in on such short notice, because we had one guy who's dealing with some flooding at his place and another guy who's out sick.
Oh,
so
well,
they were
big shout outs to Muppet and Visual Basic in that case for filling in.
Oh, definitely. But the original plan, the first one was, me and Arch would go this direction, Winchester and Shaq go this direction, and our two mercs would go center. And we would just try to get high, get fast, and just, try and do kind of like a racetrack with each other, or each wingman, with about a 10 to 15 nautical mile separation. That didn't work out so well the first time. So, second time...
do you have any idea why it didn't work out the way that you had expected?
Those F-15. They are nasty when they're up high and going fast. And their radar is just able to look down, so there's no hiding from them. They're just... They know how to use the F-15 to its strengths, and it shows.
Absolutely. But in the second round, it was a different plan. Do you want to talk us through that one?
So, the second round, what we decided to do was start off going high and fast, try and them, like in the middle, get some missiles off, and then get down to under 30,000 feet, so we're in the thicker air, able to maneuver better. We were doing good until my wingman Arch got smoked by either an SD-10 or a 120, not sure which. And
yeah, it was a 120 from the F-15.
Yeah, and that kind of left me by myself. So what I immediately tried to do then was link back up with everybody else. I tried to flow towards them at just above the treetops, and yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah. I think that strategy change, I said at the time, once I saw you guys doing it, it was exactly the right call, and it got very close to working. I think once you have a look at the TAC view, you'll see that there was some golden opportunities that, with a little bit more experience and practice and competition, I think will reveal themselves to you. It's the sort of thing that a group like the 76th, who are dripping with experience in these kind of competitions, are familiar with. But obviously, if you're competing in a competitive environment for the first time, takes a bit of getting used to. How have you guys found the experience of flying competitively? It's really exciting, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, aside from the anxiety and the jitters before the fight, on my part, I don't know if anybody else in our group.
I know I feel that way.
But overall, like, we're here to compete and kind of make a name for ourselves, but at the same time, we're also doing this because we enjoy flying. Like, I've got quite a bit of time in Viper.
Which is great. It's really why we're all here at the end of the day, is because of how much we love it.
And the camaraderie that we've run into along the way with some of these different groups, like Vehicle from Fully Torqued, Laszlo from Fox. Like, they are some awesome people. In fact, they've been, a few of them have been helping or mentoring us a little bit here and there as well. You know,
Yeah.
trying to help us get better, teaching us different tactics and whatnot.
The community is very welcoming and very international as well. So
It is.
I'm glad to hear that the experience continues to be so enjoyable for everyone involved.
It's been an awesome experience, and you know, we're happy to actually be here.
Oh, well,
Because-
thank you very much for flying for us today. And great fights. It wasn't a wipeout. I think it was actually a really, really good fight. And in the second round, it almost tipped in the other direction in a big way. And with a little bit more practice and experience, AIN is going to be a team to keep your eye on. Is it an acronym for something? I don't actually have it written down somewhere.
So AIN stands for Aurorian Imperial Navy. It is based off of our group's founder's book. He's working
Okay.
on a third book currently.
Oh, cool.
And it's a really good read. I would highly recommend it. If
Okay.
you're into the
Do you know what the
sci-fi
book
type
series is
stuff.
called?
It's called The Problems of Morgan, or The Problem of Morgan. It's on Amazon. Feel free to check it out. Like, it is a really good read. Highly recommend if you're into the sci-fi type stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so exciting. What a cool little bit of information.
And would you believe that we also have very little practice in this whole thing as well?
No, I can imagine. It can be really difficult, actually, to sort out a training schedule and getting everyone organised. 6 people is a lot to sort out with everyone got their personal lives and all that sort of thing happening. I know it's not easy at all.
And yet we still do really well with the communication teamwork,
Exactly.
which is, it amazes me, honestly.
No, and it's something I think all of you should be very proud about. Okay, well, the 76th have said that they do not have the English capabilities to come and join us in the interview, so it'll just be you and me. So, if there's anything you'd like to say, any shout-outs you'd like to make, or anything you'd like to tell the audience as we sign off on this Easter Sunday.
The only thing I definitely want to say is, you know, when it comes to stuff like this, yeah, it's intimidating, but you won't know how fun it is until you actually try it.
That's a great statement, Blackout. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Have a very good weekend, and thank you for flying for us. See you later.
Thank you for hosting this.
I've got the easiest job in the world. Thank you, mate.
I'm looking forward to seeing the footage.
No
I want to
worries.
see where we went wrong.
You didn't go wrong. You did great. All right. See you later.
All right.
All right, guys. That's it. That's the end of the game. That's the end of the match for today. Well done to all of the participants. AIN distinguished themselves fantastically. The 76 did an excellent job proving their dominance in the skies. That's the only match that we have on for today. The next ones will be happening next weekend. It looks like it will be April 25th with BK facing off against GC, so Russia and Belarus facing off against Iran. On Saturday and Sunday, we'll have more teams showing up with familiar names like Honkai Destruction Armor and Dark Raven, 179th Dogs, the Persian Air Force, the 76 will be fighting again against 9G, and ETF will be facing off against the 71st Warcom. Make sure that you engage with all of the SATAC organisers. Make sure that you join in on the SATAC Discord so that you catch any matches that go live, also casted by 81 Banana and all the rest. If you want to keep up to date with my content, I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You can join in on my Discord and come and hang out in a welcoming aviation-centric community. You can also follow me on Twitter for when I accidentally retweet pornography, and subscribe to my YouTube. Thank you very much, guys. I hope that you had a wonderful time. Other than that, I am going to let you go and find some Easter eggs and eat some chocolate. Take it easy, guys. I will speak to you all later. Big love.